Hey friends, today is all about meal prepping high protein food options that are gonna help us stay on track with our protein goals, with our health, and support our fitness goals. If you are a mom like me, or just a person who has muscle building goals, if you've been on my channel for a little while, you know that I am training right now for a high rocks race. So I am trying to really dial in on my nutrition, but I'm also a busy mom of 4 kids. So it's not always practical for me to spend an entire afternoon or a whole day devoted to just meal prepping meals for myself. That just is not, In the past, I have definitely done full-on meal preps with pretty packaged meals ready to go in my fridge for my whole week. If you guys have ever meal prepped, you know what it's like. It feels amazing when you're done, but the process, it takes a lot of time. This week, we're doing things a little bit different. We are still going to have healthy, high-protein options in our fridge, but I'm going to spread this out throughout my week and just double up on some recipes that I'm already making, which means I'm not spending any extra time in my kitchen, and I'm still going to have healthy food options in my fridge that I can grab throughout my week. It's just not all gonna happen in one day, which I think is probably the most realistic way to meal prep, if that's what you wanna call it. Just make extra food when you're already cooking, and you're going to find it so helpful, especially if you're trying to stay on track, you're trying to get more protein in your diet, and you just don't want to spend an entire day planning and preparing. That's the plan for today, and I will type up all of the recipes that I'm making this week, and I will also share a grocery list for you in case you do want to do it all at once or you want to plan for a week ahead. Hopefully that's helpful for you. I know it will be helpful for me. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel and join my YouTube family. So glad that you guys are here. Let's get cooking. Well, this first recipe is a fun take on egg bites or egg muffins. I've made these time and time again, but this is my first time making them with a hash brown on the bottom. It's essentially just grated potatoes that I'm gonna be baking in the oven in the muffin tin first before I add in the egg mixture on top. And I'm using 12 baby potatoes because I'm making 12 muffins, so it's really easy to count out exactly how many you need. 1 potato per muffin. And then I'm adding them into the muffin tin with a little bit of olive oil, and I'm gonna put them in the oven first before adding the egg mixture, and that will bake at 425 for about 10 minutes or until they've turned a little bit golden brown and they've cooked just a little bit. So while that's baking, I'm putting together the egg filling, and it's kind of just a concoction of different protein sources. I love adding a variety of proteins into my meals. So I have egg whites, which is one of my favorite sources of protein, but I don't like egg whites on their own. I always feel like I need to add something to my egg whites. So I'm also including 4 whole eggs and cottage cheese. This is gold. This is an amazing source of protein. And I think a lot of people have caught on to that lately because every time I go to the grocery store, all of the cottage cheese is gone. Guys, I don't know about where you live, but it is hard to come by these days. So hopefully you can find some. Anyways, I also am adding some chopped deli turkey meat, and mine was a sun-dried tomato flavor, which I thought would add a nice flavor and some extra protein to these egg bites. Now for the spices, I'm adding in half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and I'm also adding dry parsley, but I just eyeballed this because it doesn't really have a lot of flavor. It's mostly just for color. And I also love smoked paprika. I'm adding in just a pinch of this along with some salt and pepper. So once the potatoes have cooked a little bit and they're starting to get a little bit brown, you're going to carefully pour in that egg mixture into the muffin tin. I didn't do the best job of making them even, so all I'm doing is taking an ice cream scoop, which works surprisingly well, and just even them out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want them to cook at the same time, so do your best. And then of course, you gotta add a little bit of cheese because cheese just makes everything better. Now I'm reducing the oven temperature to 375, and these will take around 20 minutes or so to bake. You'll know they're done when they no longer jiggle in the middle when you give them a little shake, and the tops have turned a golden brown. Okay guys, these look absolutely amazing. They smell so yummy, but I do wish that I used butter instead of olive oil on the bottom of the pan. Or I also have silicone muffin tin liners that I also could have used, which would have saved me a lot of cleanup that I'm gonna have to do now. But if I could go back in time, I think I would have still used this tin because I wanted the potatoes to get a little bit crispy on the bottom, and I don't think they would get crispy if I used a silicone liner. Or when they came out of the oven after the potatoes have kind of browned, I would maybe then spray a little bit more oil at that time so that the eggs don't stick to the sides. But that's okay. Lesson learned. Don't make my mistake, or if you do, I'm sorry. But it's definitely worth it because look how delicious these look, guys. Okay, and I did just quickly type up the recipe in Chronometer, which is the macro tracking app that I've been using lately. And I love that you can create custom recipes on it. And then it's really easy to just see if you're cooking your own recipe, what the macros are for that recipe. So I just did that now with these egg, I think I'm gonna call them hash brown egg muffins. That sounds about right. And I'll just quickly share with you what the macros are in case you're interested or you're tracking. So for one of these hash brown egg muffins, it's only 72 calories, 7 grams of protein, 5 grams of carbs, and 3 grams of fat. So that's definitely not enough for one meal to have only one. So I personally would have maybe 2 of them, and then I would pair it with a piece of sourdough toast with butter, maybe some avocado toast, or you could even have 3, and that would definitely be a good meal option. Yeah, I haven't given these a try yet, so I am so excited to taste test and see how they turned out. I already know they're so good, I can just tell. Do not mind my horrible nails. They're horrendous right now. Look away. Okay, let's try. Oh, I know it would make these even better. 1 second. We are going to elevate these even more with a little dash of hot sauce. Or if you don't like spicy things, maybe a little bit of salsa or some sugar-free ketchup would be really good. We have a winner. As an Italian girl, I love spaghetti and meatballs. That is one of my favorite meals of all time. So I had a craving for meatballs this week, and I thought I would have a little bit of fun in the kitchen. On nights like tonight, when the kids are entertained, everybody's happy, and I have some quiet time in the kitchen, one of my favorite things to do is to just get creative. So I had a thought that it would be fun to make a light ricotta cheese filling, and I'm going to actually put it inside of the meatball so that when you take a bite, it's like this hidden kind of Kinder Surprise thing where you bite and the ricotta cheese is on the inside. Does that not sound delicious? I thought it sounded so good. What I did was I combined about 1 cup of light ricotta cheese with some finely chopped fresh parsley and a little bit of Parmesan cheese, some salt and garlic powder, and just set that aside. And now I'm working on the meatball mixture. Now with the meat, I decided since we have goals, I'm trying to get in tip-top shape for this High Rocks race coming up, I decided to use extra lean ground beef. But if you aren't counting calories or you don't really care about the fat content so much, perhaps go for a lean beef or even a medium beef because that will make these even juicier. But if you are trying to watch calories, one of the ways you can do that is to just cut back on the fat. So that's why I went for an extra lean ground beef. I combined some eggs and egg whites as well, along with onion and garlic, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, some tamari, which is one of my secret ingredients that I use all the time. And then I included some herbs de Provence seasoning simply because I didn't have Italian seasoning and it worked just great, but you can use either or. I also added salt and pepper and then a pinch of chili flakes. These weren't spicy at all, but if you are sensitive, you can totally omit the chili flakes and they'll turn out just fine. Now, you do want to be a little bit gentle. You don't want to overwork your meat or it can make it a little bit tough. So just gently fold everything together until it's combined. And then I just have a large sheet pan that I put some parchment paper on top. This is really going to help with cleanup. So I do recommend lining it with parchment and then just add a light drizzle of olive oil. Now we're going to work on forming the actual meatball. This might take you a couple times to get the hang of it, but it does get really simple as you go. So the first thing that I did was I just formed these little flat discs for the meatball and I pressed my thumb in the center just to have a little well. And this is where we're gonna add the ricotta cheese inside. And you can also use the back of a tablespoon and just press down before you add the filling. That really helps. So here's the tricky part, and I actually had so much fun doing this. I love making homemade pizza dough, and I found this was a very similar process. So you do want to use wet hands because the meat can kind of stick to your hands a little bit. With wet hands, pick up the meat and you want to gently fold the outside over the center until the ricotta cheese is covered. Now, you might find it a little bit tricky to cover it completely, and this is where it's handy to have some extra meat sitting off to the side that you can kind of use as like a band-aid to cover up those pieces that might not come fully together. If it doesn't come fully together, don't worry about it. It will just kind of burst open as it cooks and some of that cheese will come out. So if you're going for the Kinder Surprise effect, you do want to make sure that it's tightly sealed, but don't be concerned if it is kind of cracking a little bit at the seams. So I just brushed a little bit of olive oil on top and I'm baking it in the oven at 400 for about 20 minutes or so. Now for my side dishes tonight, I decided not to go for spaghetti. I know, I am Italian. I should be having spaghetti with meatballs, but I decided to make a white rice, and I do love adding bone broth instead of water or regular chicken broth to cook the rice because that's gonna give us a little bit of extra protein. And for the vegetable, I'm keeping it really simple and just doing some steamed broccoli. Okay, back to the meatballs. They've been cooking for about 20 minutes or so, and now I'm just putting the broiler on high and I'm going to watch them for about 2 minutes until they get a nice golden brown color on top, and that's when I pull them out. And I'm just taking them off of the hot tray because I don't want them to overcook. And guys, these were a hit in my household. They were so much fun, such a unique and different style of meatball that I've actually never heard of before. I think this is a new staple for me. All right, time to give this a taste test. Tonight, I'm keeping it super simple, realistic, and very practical. I found these beef stir-fry strips at the grocery store a little while ago, and I just had them in my freezer. So I took them out a day ago, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? But you know what? It's starting to warm up outside. It is about time to fire up the grill, and I think it's gonna be really helpful to just do a really simple steak. And I'm not going to do anything fancy at all. I'll just add a little bit of oil, salt, and pepper, and just throw it on the grill for a few minutes. And then I will just have really easy protein that I can add for my salads. I might have it with my eggs in the morning for breakfast. So that is what we are doing tonight. All right, it is a new day, another day of cooking dinner. And I think this is going to be my last recipe that I'm going to meal prep for this week. And we just went to Costco and got some salmon. We got a nice piece of salmon, and I'm gonna share one of my go-to ways to make salmon. I've shared similar recipes in previous videos before, so forgive me if you've already seen this one. If not, hopefully you enjoy this recipe. Yeah, honestly, this is just one of my favorite go-to ways to make salmon. It turns out so good every single time. The key is to use tamari, which is one of my favorite ingredients. I use soy sauce, tamari specifically, in so many recipes. Adds so much flavor, and it's great for pouring in with your salmon, making a quick marinade with. So I will definitely include that. And also another secret ingredient, roasted sesame oil. A little bit of this goes a long way. It has so much flavor. You don't want to skip out on this one. So I'm going to just gather all of my ingredients and then I will show you how I make my salmon. Dijon, olive oil, salmon, lemon, tamari, syrup. To make the marinade for the salmon, I have about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, and I'm just mincing them and adding them to a measuring cup. So I have a 1/4 cup of olive oil, 2 to 3 tablespoons of tamari, or you could use just a regular soy sauce, that would work just fine. And then here's that roasted sesame oil. It does have a strong flavor, so I recommend adding about 1/2 tablespoon of this. And then I always add Dijon mustard to my marinades and also my salad dressings. So I added about a tablespoon of Dijon and a couple tablespoons of maple syrup as well. If you don't have maple syrup, you can always use a honey or even a little bit of brown sugar would work. It's just going to help the salmon caramelize as it cooks. And then I used about 1/2 a lemon and just squeezed the juice out of it. You could also use a little bit of orange juice. I've used that many times before and it tastes delicious. Give it a good pinch of salt, mix everything together, and now I'm going to slice my salmon into portions. So with the salmon, I typically like to buy the salmon that has the skin on. I do find that it adds a little bit of extra moisture when you're cooking the salmon, and I just prefer having the skin, but Costco didn't have the salmon with the skin on, so I just have this kind, which is fine. It tastes really good as well. I just do prefer the skin on. So you just put it all in a Ziploc bag or a container. Take that marinade, give it a little mix, pour it right in that bag. Seal it up. Now, I'm just gonna pop this in the fridge. It is 4:30 now, so that means we're gonna be eating dinner in about an hour. Ideally, I would like to let this rest for at least 1 hour in the fridge just to give the salmon some time to soak up this marinade. But if you have like 2 hours or even 4 hours, that would be even better. It might be fine to let it go overnight in the fridge, but sometimes with the lemon juice, I don't know. I don't think I've tried it overnight. I'd say between 2 and 4 hours would be ideal. But if you're short on time like I am tonight, even 30 minutes is fine. It will still taste just great. That salmon, so good. Okay guys, so I'm gonna end today's video with my salmon, and I hope you got some new meal ideas this week or for future meal prep days, or if you want to spread it out throughout your week like I did. Make sure to check out that free document in the description box below, and do subscribe if you haven't already and you found today's video helpful. Bye guys, I will see you next time.